Um, I think we can get started. Hello, everyone. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, cool. Yeah, let me share my screen and we can get started. Uh, can you all see my screen? Okay. Okay. Sure. Let me get started. So, hello everyone. My name is Rahul Sharma, and I'll just spend a couple of minutes introducing myself, and then we can get into the topic for today's session. So, like I work at US Bank as a senior product manager for their open banking payments products, and I've been with US Bank for about 6 years now. Overall, I have more than 10 years of work experience in payments product management. Prior to joining US Bank, I've worked in Pfizer for their biller solutions. So, like the topic for today is specifically product management for B2B products. And my goal today is to share with you all knowledge and information on some of the nuances of how product management works for B2B products as compared to consumer products. And the reason I wanted to take this as a topic of discussion and knowledge sharing today is because a lot of like knowledge and material in the internet is focused towards consumer products, because a lot of products that are popular and well known and highly scalable products are consumer products. So like Instagram, Facebook, or even like Gmail, or Microsoft products are like a lot of products out there. Very famous ones are B2C products. So I wanted to take some time and focus specifically on B2B products, because there are like some very specific things in the B2B landscape which are very different from how you would manage products for the consumer space. So I will spend like about 35 to 40 minutes on my session. And then towards the end, the last 15, 20 minutes of the session, we can spend some time on the question and answers. And if anybody has any specific questions for the information that I shared, please feel free to, share your questions, or even uh, just share your thoughts if there are any. Like, I wanted this to be a two-way session, and I would also love to take something back from this session and have a good interaction with the audience, uh, and make sure that we are having a good two-way communication between us. So with that, I will get started. So before like we get into the nuances, I just wanted to first go through like a very basic, like I'll just spend 2 3 minutes on this slide. I wanted to just walk you through like what is my thought process when I do product management. And this is like fundamental product management process, regardless of what kind of a product it is. So basically, once we go through this, right, I want to use this as a baseline for the some of the finer nuances that I will be sharing in the subsequent slides. So like I think if you think about it, like whenever you have an idea, right, either you yourself come up with some idea, or your senior executive leaders have some idea that they shared with you, which is like a very abstract, high level idea, lot of uncertainty, and you don't really have all the details defined yet. So at that point of time, I think the very first thing when you need to ask yourself is like, what are your organization goals, right? And how does your product fit into it? So like a lot of product discovery has to happen at the beginning with that very like fundamental question, because eventually all the products out there are like, I mean, not every product, but most of the products are commercialized products and monetized products, right? So eventually, like the goal is to make the organization profitable, and like serving the shareholders of an organization is like a very like basic goal for why we are making products and commercializing them, right? So knowing your organization goals is important. And then once you have your goals set, I think you dive a little deeper into understanding your industry, understanding your market and the customer segments. And this like this exercise itself is like, even before you get to know your user personas and the details of who your users are, I think it's very important to do the market study, competitive analysis, know what is out there in the market, what what is missing today, what kind of products are not there today which would benefit specific segments of the market, right? And that is like of extreme importance. The next thing is like, uh, once you know your market, you've kind of like deep dived into what are the different segments and what are the specific segments that you want to focus on. You can then get a little deeper into understanding users of that specific industry segment. And this is the point where there is a lot of user research done in different quantitative as well as qualitative methods. So you might use like either readily available data about user behavior and user pain points, but at the same time you could also have like qualitative user feedback in the form of customer interviews, or it could be like joint working sessions with your customers, right? So that all of that happens in this phase. The next one that I've defined here is like user tasks and journey mapping. So your users that are like more than being in love with your product, or liking your product, they're out there for performing certain tasks, and there are jobs to be done by the user that they are focused on, and your product is helping them do that. So it's very important that you understand what tasks your user is trying to accomplish, and also like map out a journey of what is the workflow or the overall process of your user interacting with your product, for what purpose, right? That is eventually like that is extremely important for you to get into the details of where your product can help, right? Like when you go through the user journey and you look at specific pain points in that journey, that is when you can figure out what are the top two, three, or five problems you want to solve in that journey, and what will make your product stand out, which will like the features and capabilities of your product, what value will it add to the life of a user, right? That's the goal when you are focused on prioritizing your problems to solve. And once you have zeroed in on the main problems you want to solve, that is when you are like then heavily involved with deep discussions with technology teams to evaluate what are the best solution ideas and what's the best way to solve these problems. Right? There is a lot of focus here on making sure that the solutions are a they are feasible, and b like we have to look at the costs and the budgeting, and make you're able to work within the resources and capability, the capacity that you have. So that all of that comes in this process of evaluating solution ideas and finalizing solutions. So I think the next point is where like you now have a very clear understanding of your uh, your segments, your users, the problems you want to focus on. So like from the point where you started with very high uncertainty, like all of this product discovery process gets you to a point where you are pretty much clear on what is the work that you and the technology teams want to do, and there is a lot more certainty that a product manager can bring to this point. So this is the point where you can now have roadmaps created for the next 2 quarters, 3 quarters, or even like a couple of years. You can have your roadmaps created, and of course, like there'll be times where you have to adjust your roadmaps based on either user feedback or some high priority customer comes in. So we have to be flexible enough to adjust the roadmaps. But I think the point here is to, always try and bring more clarity and certainty to like very vague ideas before you can build roadmaps and you can start the build process or the uh, development process. And once you are into the build process, once you've like developed, tested something, and ready to launch, at that point of time, there's a lot of launch planning to be done. Like you're ensuring that you have proper marketing in place, you have your sales training done, you have the right metrics to track, because this is just the beginning, it's not the end. So products are meant to be like highly scalable, long lasting products, and not just like one launch and you are done. So you have to make sure you have the right metrics to have a continuous improvement process for your products, and you're able to uh, build your products for a long term for your organization, and bring in like a lot more success in the subsequent releases. And this is like an iterative process that goes on beyond the first release. So I think this is like a process which is you know to be followed regardless of whether it's a B2B product and or it's a B2C product, and or it could even be like a platform product where you have a marketplace and you have both the buyer side as well as the seller side, and you're building a platform that is helping the buyers meet the sellers. So in that kind of a model, you could have a lot of businesses on your selling side and consumers on the buying side. So there are a lot of the platform model based products as well. But from my experience, even for those platform products, the focus is very heavy on consumers, which is why I wanted to like specifically focus on B2B products. And enterprise B2B products are like kind of a niche. I wouldn't say niche, but it's a pretty large segment of products, and there are really very cool products out there in the B2B market as well, which don't get as much attention as consumer products or platform products. So like we'll see the nuances of B2B products for each of these different uh, milestones of your product management process, and how like B2B product management is different from consumer products for a lot of these activities that happen in product management. I'll go to the next slide. So, like one of the pieces of the puzzle that we saw in the previous slide was like there is an activity to understand who your users are and user personas. So when it comes to B2B products, a very important point to be noted here is that, unlike consumer products, when you are when you are selling enterprise products, the buying decision maker and the users of the product are two different people, right? So let's take a simple example. So let's say Microsoft is selling Microsoft Teams, right, to enterprises. So when it comes to that kind of a product, usually the buying decision makers would be like the CTO or some technology leaders or executive leaders of the organization that is willing to install Microsoft Teams for their uh, employees, but the employees themselves are actually the users of the product, right? So and the same thing happens like even for, let's say, like, so I have a lot of experience in API products for banking customers. So my customers are corporate commercial banking customers. So I've like we've done I mean, I've met hundreds of customers for my products. So like I've always seen that, the buying decision for API products is done by either a senior product leader who is building the products which are connecting to our APIs, or it is like a treasury. So because I'm part of the treasury banking domain, uh, like a chief financial officer or a treasury lead in the finance department of the organization is making the decision to buy my product, right? Whereas the user of the product is, it is either an employee of an enterprise. So for your enterprise B2B products, there could be two possible users of the product, right? So for a product like Microsoft Teams, or for a product like my product, like API products, the employee of the customer is the user of the product. But oftentimes, so for my products, right, like let's say the developer that is connecting to the APIs is my user, but they are building an application on their side. So again, to like give you an example, if I'm providing payments APIs to my customers, and if they are building an application for let's say for collecting bill payments from their end customers, right? So those end users which are using the user interface that gets connected to the API are also that end user is also a user persona that has to be taken into consideration, right? So which is why like the question, like a very simple question, who are the users of your product, is a bit complex in B2B because there are multiple different users involved in the process, and it's not just one user using the product, right? So you have the buyer, the user, and the end user, right? So that is one thing. And then like I mean, for like when we do user research, a lot of focus is on uh, understanding the psychology of the user and understanding the behavior of the users in things like how buying decisions are made. So which is why, for a B2B product, like when you are doing any kind of an activity to understand user psychology, or uh, understanding your user behavior, especially for buying decisions, it's very different. From my experience, I've seen that, like even if you have a set pricing for your product defined as part of your product strategy, very often how it works in enterprise B2B products is that discounting and negotiations is, it's like a very common practice in B2B products. Like you will always have your sales teams pushing hard against you to give discounts to large customers, because I mean, that's how large organizations work, right? Like there are large sales organizations in these B2B setups where they get a lot of commission for doing their sales, and when they are negotiating large deals with very large customers who are bringing in large business, they will push very hard for discounting whatever price the product team sets. So it's very common. It will impact your uh, like if you might have some forecast for revenue, it will these kind of heavy discounts will definitely impact your revenue forecasts. Right? The next point here is, so like in B2B products, more often than not, the user is an employee of an organization who is performing professional tasks. So they are not doing any personal activity, right? They are doing professional tasks for their organization. So their expectations are very different from a consumer. So the focus is more on efficiency and being able to perform their tasks in limited amount of time, or something that helps improve their uh, effectiveness and efficiency in their organization has the biggest focus, right? I wouldn't say that other things are not important. Like anything that is important in consumer products, be it a user experience or like the ease of interacting with the product, all of that is also important, but the focus is more on efficiency and optimization, right? So yeah, the last bullet point here, I think I already covered that you have to keep the end user in mind, because when you're building B2B products, a lot of times it will be a B2B2C model where you're selling to a business, which in turn is selling to consumers. So at the end of the day, consumers will come into the picture even if it's a B2B product. Yeah. So the next point is, I want to spend some time on when you're doing product discovery and you are in the phase of doing user research and collecting user feedback. There is very like a lot of knowledge out there will tell you that you have to do quantitative research and you have to do A/B testing. So let me tell you, like for B2B products, especially, like uh, it is very hard to do like hypothesis testing in the form of A/B tests, because it's not like you have like millions of users for your product and you can just select a segment of those million users and perform A/B tests, right? It doesn't happen like that for B2B products. So especially like when I say enterprise products, like there are these large, very large deals going on with large customers. So you will often have like, I mean, for let's say for a product generating like $10 million a month, right? So that $10 million is coming from like maybe 50 or 100 customers, right? So when you have that kind of a setup, it's very hard to do A/B testing, or a lot of times it's even hard to get quantitative data about your own product from the uh, like from the industry market research reports and things like that, right? Because the user consumer research is more readily available compared to any industry ecosystem research. So like because of that, like the qualitative research is more powerful for B2B products. I mean, I have had very good success with doing interviews with employees of the customer. And like one thing I have thought which has helped me immensely is site visits. So when you have business customers, right, and you're building something for their employees, try and get to their workstation and their work area wherever they are performing their work, and it immensely helps you. Like you will observe such minute details of what is the job that they are trying to do and what is the environment in which they work and what job they are getting to done in how much time, like going to their office and seeing how they perform is immensely different from just doing a virtual interview. So even if it is like, let's say I'm building payments APIs which are being embedded into an ERP system, let's say. So how does the treasury department perform their payables? Like where do they get the invoices from? How do they download the invoice and pay the invoice? If you talk to them and if you sit next to them and see all of that, the experience is like vastly different from just asking specific questions to your user in an interview, right? So that is one point. And then the other thing is like, when it comes to B2B products, uh, your sales staff is your best buddy, right? Be very very close partners with your sales staff, because they are going to they know the pulse of the customers, right? They've been doing large deals for many years. A lot of them are super experienced. Even before your product idea came into the picture, they've been selling other products to the market segments that you're trying to target, right? So like in large or enterprises, I think when you're selling B2B products, and if you are a product manager for such products, like being very close to your sales people will give you a lot of information even before you get customers. If you are finding it hard to get customer interviews or meet any potential customers, you can still get a lot of information from your sales people, right? And they are the ones who are going to give you your pilot customer or the top five, the first five customers. And like my thought is that in get for having B2B products successful, your first five customers are going to be the key, right? It's kind of a way to find a product market fit for B2B products. Oh yeah, I am changing. uh, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize that. Okay, can you see slide number 4 right now? Okay. Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. Okay, I'll keep it in this mode so that if I'm changing slides, it's visible. So yeah, I was at the point where I was saying that for B2B products, uh, like a key strategy that I've seen even other successful product managers in the B2B space, and I've even from the books that I've read, I've realized that your first five six customers will set the stage for you, and it like it will help you immensely in working closely with your sales team and figuring out your first pilot customer and your first five customers. The next thing I want to talk about is there are there are like many ways to do customer segmentation for an industry or for a market, but I wanted to like share one very simple and effective way of doing customer segmentation for B2B products. And this is like this is not the I would say like this is not the uh, only way to do customer segmentations, and within these segments there would be more specific niche segments that you will come up with, or you could have your own innovative way to do customer segmentation. But for a lot of products you will see that this kind of segmentation will give you a lot of insights. So like the way I think about different entities you would be dealing with are, so one is like your conventional corporate customers, right? So these are like customers that you sell to. So it's just your like traditional B2B business that has always been there even before B2B SaaS uh, products and innovative business models came into picture. So one business selling products to another business, and just like so, for example, banks selling banking products to treasury department of any corporate, right? So like my bank selling it, let's say, to a Target or a Walmart, and their treasury department is using my treasury banking services. So that's like the conventional one. And then there could also be like resell models, which where you are selling through somebody. So this is more like a B2B2B kind of a business model, and you have customers in this segment where you are selling to somebody who in turn is selling to another business. So for example, we have data sharing APIs, which we like any banking customers' accounts and transaction data are provided through APIs to a popular entity called Plaid. But Plaid is a fintech that doesn't have like user interface based products. Like they do have, but their bread and butter is APIs again. So they transform our APIs and they resell, like add additional value to our APIs, and then they sell those APIs to some other digital banks and neo banks, right? So this is like a B2B2B kind of a model. And then the third model is which is where you can be very innovative and like use your like innovative skills to come up with very great models. So this one is where you have like channel partners, and these are your partners who will kind of help you grow your business, right? So they are serving the same customers, but you come up with interesting models where it's a win-win situation for you and the entity that you are jointly collaborating with, and you together are selling to somebody. So for example, for my payments industry, if I am building payments products, I could collaborate with ERP providers or treasury management software providers, and we could collaborate, the bank and the ERP vendor could collaborate to serve the treasury departments of large corporates, right? And we can embed payments in their softwares, which and these softwares are then used by our banking customers. So that's the third one. The next slide talks about the uh, stakeholder management, and the reason I wanted to put this slide was that on the left hand side, the stakeholders that you have, those are pretty much the same for any kind of product, right? So you'll have customers, you'll have your own executive leaders, a sales team, a marketing team, technology, UX designers. But the thing here is that the amount of time you spend with each of them is very different for different types of products. So as I was saying before, for B2B products, you will spend a lot of time with your sales team, both during the discovery phase, during the launch phase, as well as after the launch, because every large deal that comes to your organization will be like led by the sales team, and there'll be like a sales leader leading large deals, and they will involve the product manager for their product expertise, right? And this will go on for multiple customers, so there'll be a lot of time you will spend with them. And then there are also like legal teams that you will spend a lot of time with, because in B2B products there are like contracts and contract negotiations that happen a lot, right? Your customers will negotiate a bit, your organization will negotiate, because there are these SLAs and terms and conditions which have to be finally agreed upon by both the parties in large deals. So this is why, I'll not spend a lot of time on this one. I'll be quick, but and I'll be sharing the slides. So feel free to look at it later. But this was like the essence of this is that there are like specific teams in your organization that you'll be spending more time with for B2B products as compared to consumer products. So, like in this slide, like I did cover some of it, but I will spend a little bit more time because it's a topic which is very important, and it doesn't get a lot of attention in like the publicly available material. So like as I was saying before, the way buying decisions are made in B2B products is through large deals, and like one crucial thing for B2B products is that the sales cycles are really long, right? So it has a lot of negative impact as well on you. So because you as a product manager, if you launch something, let's say you launch an MVP in the market, because the sales cycles are so long for B2B products, you will not get immediate feedback for your product to quickly adjust your product. So you have to plan well in advance. You have to work with your sales team to make sure that the pilot customer is launched a little bit, I would say, in a premature stage, because you do want to, get feedback from a customer who knows that they are a guinea pig, they are a pilot customer, but they are still willing to help you and, mature your product. So those kind of things are to be planned well in advance. And the impact of discounts I already discussed. The other thing, yeah. So plan for sudden spikes in the demand for your product. So this is very important because like when you're building technology products, the infrastructure is not unlimited. Like your technology teams will always start with limited infrastructure capacity. So be it network or be it memory or whatever is the limited constraint in B2B products. For a long time you might think that whatever capacity you have is enough, and then one fine day suddenly, if one large deal comes in which has millions of transactions uh, per month or per day, there will be a sudden spike in your demand, and you have to work with your technology teams. So like in a way it's good that the sales cycle are long for this particular aspect, because that gives you some time to work with your technology teams and make sure that you are increasing your capacity, or you're increasing your performance, or throughput, or whatever is needed to change, because there is going to be a sudden change, right? The next thing is customer support and operations. So like this is an area which is very different from consumer products, in the sense that your for you as a product manager, your role will include training the support staff, right? Because they for any business products, your support staff is supposed to be uh, providing like the appropriate like exchange of information, and like they are supposed to be as knowledgeable about the product as you are, because they are onboarding a customer to the product. They are also like explaining the customer what is to be done, and setting them up for the product. So like product configurations to be done by them, and any like handshake between the customer and the customer onboarding team requires a lot of like functional knowledge about your products. And this happens a lot in these B2B products, because like consumer products are easier to understand from a customer perspective, because the customer is a average consumer, right? But when it comes to B2B, like there are large complex workflows which the support staff also needs to understand, and even the sales team needs to understand. So from in my case, when I'm selling API products, I have to be evangelizing what are APIs, how do they benefit customers, and your regular sales people who are a lot of times they're not even technical sales people, they are like just regular banking sales people, so they need to be trained on your products. So so that is one part of it. The other thing is that, your demand for customer support will be very very high for B2B products. Like there will be pressures on the customer from the customer side to have top notch customer support, right? They'll even have like legal contracts where SLAs are defined, and they will want to you to be following those SLAs and ensuring that you're not breaking any support SLAs. So I think one good way of mitigating any risks associated to these is that, you are constantly innovating on your operational processes and customer onboarding and customer support processes, and automating as much as you can to keep the costs low. So the next slide talks about metrics, and I know like we I want to leave some time for questions. So I will try to keep the next 2 3 slides short so that we have some time for questions from the audience. So in this slide, I will focus mainly on LTV and CLV, because this is like very, very crucial for B2B products, right? And especially the first one, uh, and like even the second one. So the difference between LTV and CLV is that LTV is more of like an average lifetime value of one customer. So how much money on an average one customer gives you throughout their lifetime is what an LTV gives you. So let's say, so basically that helps you. Any B2B SaaS company can, figure out with the help of an LTV on like how long it will take to recoup their uh, cost of customer acquisition, right? So generally, like as a thumb rule, it is said that, it's good for B2B SaaS organizations to have a LTV to CAC ratio of 3. So which means that, the average lifetime value for one customer should be 3 times the amount of money it takes to acquire a customer. Because without anything less than that doesn't make the B2B SaaS company profitable in the long run. And the CLV is like the lifetime value of one specific customer. So the reason why that is important is that, let's say you have a customer with like $10 million of lifetime value, and another customer with a $1 million of lifetime value, and both of them have the same cost of acquiring the customer. So if that is the case, you would definitely want to pursue the one which has a higher lifetime value, because it's just that, it will help you prioritize who are your top customers, and you'll be able to, keep them happy, retain them, uh, prioritize requirements that are important for them, and that will make your products profitable in the long run. So, like there are these other metrics which are important: customer effort score, monthly recurring revenue, retention rate. So, in the interest of time, I'll not go through each of them, and I would definitely feel free to reach out to me if you want to discuss any specific ones. The next slide talks about product pricing. So I think this is where like B2B products have a little bit of an advantage because you have some flexibility to keep the pricing structure a bit complex. Like the pressures for having a very simple pricing which is like easy to understand is not as much as in the consumer industry. So you have flexibility to have these different kind of pricing structures. Like you could either have a per user per month subscription, which is very popular these days, but you could also have other pricing mechanisms like either you could have a combination of fixed plus variable charges, or you could have a combination of multiple one-time charges plus like recurring charges. And like even tiered pricing is very well accepted by the customers. They understand why tiered pricing is needed, and it's not that complex for them to understand. And even like overall, like the pricing, I mean, the B2B products are not as price sensitive as consumer products. Like the price pressures and the price wars in consumer products are a lot higher. So, like the concluding slide, I would say, like I'll just like to summarize this. So, like B2B products can also be cool. Like if you look in the market today, you might get a feeling that the consumer products are more cool, and they tend to be more exciting. But like it's not like that. Like so, Slack is a great example of how a B2B product can be made cool too. Like the next point that I explained multiple times during the presentation, that your first five customers will set the stage for you and even win the game for you. So be very focused on that. uh, and yeah, like a couple of large deals can completely change the game. It can even help you meet your business objectives. So if your leadership says that this year, let's say we want to make $100 million of revenue, like one or two large deals can like get you that much revenue if you will win really large deals, right? And the next slide, the next point talks about that uh, you can build smart contracts in your favor a lot of times. Like if you have salespeople who are and legal teams who are very good at negotiating, you could build contracts which are in your favor and protect your organization from any lawsuits from the customers and things like that. And even the regulatory compliance pressures are less for B2B products because a lot of laws focus on consumer protection. So, like regulatory pressures are less, and yeah, so uh, that's I think from my side, I wanted to like have a session with everybody and like just share my 2 cents on how B2B product management is very different from consumer products and platform products. So uh, I'll end there, and a big thank you to everybody for patiently listening to me for the last 45 50 minutes. And I would definitely like to open it up for questions, and uh, see if there are any questions in the audience. Yeah, I do see some questions in the chat. So yeah, so the first question is around like, so there is a question that if I want to create a startup as a high schooler, is it easier to get success in a B2C or a B2B model, revenue plus venture capitalist backing? So I'll answer that question in two parts. So one is that like my own personal opinion is that the success rate of B2B products is a bit higher than consumer products, because the it's one is that there are industry people in specific industry segments who know their businesses very well, and it's just that once you know your stuff, it's very easy to build B2B business models, because you know what tasks your customers are doing. Whereas for consumers, like uh, the markets are usually very fragmented, right? You'll have like 10 players trying to do the same thing. So I just have that feeling that B2B products have a slightly higher uh, chances of success. But at the same time, like your question asks about if you want to start as a high schooler. So I think in that I just wanted to share that like for a lot of B2B products, a very heavy domain knowledge is needed in a particular domain. So if you have that, even as a high schooler, if you have that, wonderful, right? Like let's say you have very good knowledge of like stock market trading or futures and options, and you want to build a B2B product in that space, it's possible. But a lot of times, like a very deep domain knowledge in a particular segment takes a bit of a industry experience. So like usually I've seen that B2B products usually are founded by people who have some domain expertise in a particular domain. Um, Yeah. So next question was, what do NPS and churn rate mean? So NPS is Net Promoter Score, that is usually used for customer satisfaction measurement. And so in my case, I'll give you an example. Like, so we have API products being implemented by developers of our customer. So at the end of the integration process, we send out a customer satisfaction survey and ask them, how likely are they to recommend our product to other developers, and we get their feedback on the overall experience of integrating to our APIs and calculate the NPS scores based on that. And churn rate is like the rate at which your customers are getting dropped, and that is very crucial for business products, because you have to keep a very close eye on you know uh, like at what rate are your big customers dropping and why, and how much time does one customer spend with your product, like is it 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years. And if the churn rate is high, that means people are either dissatisfied with the experience with your product, or it's not helping the job that it is supposed to be helping to do. I think the next question in the chat is, what's the best advice you can give someone in high school uh, who wants to be successful? I would say, like, the world today is very different from the world it was a few years before, and like the rate at which it is changing is very fast. So the opportunities are endless. Like just in the last 1 year, the way technology products are built and sold is completely changing because of Gen AI, and like the release of Gen AI based tools by large big tech uh, organizations. So leverage that, like it is nothing to be scared of. There is a lot you can build with new technology, and the rate at which new technology is being launched is drastically like changing, and like technology is changing really fast. So leverage it and use it to your advantage, I would say. I think the next is how to market B2C. So I don't, to be honest, I don't have that much experience in B2C. My experience for the last 10 years has been on business products and like monetizing and commercializing B2B products. So, but usually like uh, for consumer products, for B2C products, the marketing is like usually done these days through social media marketing and influencers, and uh, a lot of it is done online these days. I think we are at the end of the session, but I'll take one last question, and I see another question in the chat which says that, considering the emerging capabilities of agentic AI, how do you envision it transforming the way B2B SaaS companies deliver value to their customers? Yeah, I think that's a great question. So, the one thing which I definitely see changing is customer support, and it's one of the most expensive thing for B2B products. Like the support costs are really high because of the heavy domain knowledge of these products that is needed. So with the help of agentic AI capabilities, you could one is you could change the way simple support tasks are performed by humans, right? And the other is like for onboarding process, it is way more easier to do onboarding tasks for onboarding a customer with an agentic AI based system as compared to having onboarding support teams who are helping the customer come on board. So I think it's a great question, and even my organization is uh, has started to dive into using generative AI and agentic AI for having a virtual assistant on our API developer portal that can assist our developers of our customers. With that, I think I will end this session. Any uh, any other questions from anyone? All right. And so back to the organizing team. Is it okay if we close this session? Okay. Yeah. Thank you everybody for listening to me patiently, and wish you good luck for your career. And I wish everybody all the best for your future.